Nice to see you, Damo.
Hello, Jim and Bill.
G'day,
Reggie.
Damien. You're a new sensation. Well, your hosting on the weekend was good.
Oh,
On the rub.
do we want to get there sooner or later, Jim?
We'll get to that.
I heard there's
later.
been a lot of correspondence sent into the station
my
about
goodness.
what he got up to on the weekend. And
Any chance that you could turn up, Jimmy?
Do we? I know we'd go positive, people, and
Yeah.
we're going to. But is there a concern of around the teams that are going ordinary?
yeah, I reckon there is.
There's
Yeah.
more of it this early than I've seen for a while, I reckon.
Yeah, there's a couple of lines that can be drawn on some clubs, and a couple of those clubs are finalists from last year, aren't they? In no particular order, GWS winning a final last year against the Swans, and they're now 1-5. And Essendon, Bill, as we know, the one win they had was against Adelaide a couple of weeks ago, and that's it. They were okay yesterday, Jim, but to your point, and as you said in the first segment of your show today, that they were pretty ordinary teams yesterday, which made for the contest itself.
West Coast or no? We
Yeah,
just
well,
got
they're
excuses.
the asterisk is on them even before the season started. I am sympathetic to their cause because they've just been hit en masse
Yes,
with
I think
COVID
so.
in a way that no other club's been hit.
Hey, Gil, where has he gone? What is he up to? Because you and him are very close. He would have come into your office and said, Damo, I'll pack my bag. I'm going. You look after. Here's the
No,
keys.
like everyone else, I read that email that went out last night, Bill, saying he's overseas with his key and trusty lieutenants in that TV space in Travis Auld and Andrew Dillon and Walter Lee, and they're just obviously going to, Jim, explore the overseas markets in ways you can only do in person when it comes to what could happen in a streaming sense would be the take out of that. It'll be deeper than that. I mean, we know there's a TV deal already in place until the end of 2024, so 2 more seasons beyond this year, but he's committed to providing the game with a fresh deal beyond that point before he departs in October or November.
Well, it's interesting because we understand, you got another team coming into the competition in Tassie, and if they add another team on top of that, there's another game that they can bring to the table. So you might be able to get some of the much-needed revenue to prop these clubs up out of a streaming.
Yeah. They've talked about a form of streaming and an outside traditional broadcaster coming into it now for the best part of 20 years, believe it or not. Telstra has positioned itself in prior negotiations to be that outlet. Now, there's other, obviously, companies now that will be equally well placed to do so, but it's time, isn't it? I think to take at least one of the current 9 games a week out of the traditional system, Bill, and just see what happens.
Right. What
It
were the last...
it doesn't come with the upfront money that the traditional negotiations do, but I think it could come with some scope.
What was the last deal done? How much was it for the TV rights?
It was
Just ballpark.
2 point something, Bill, over the course of it.
It was topped up just recently, though, wasn't it? During the first year of COVID.
Early in 2020, out of the blue, they added, I think, the 2 years to it, which is the end of 2024.
So 2.2, say.
2 point. Yeah, something.
Whatever.
Yeah, something.
We're expecting more than that, or is it?
It's always more, Bill. I mean, we'll debate it, we'll negotiate it, and we'll have the fear-mongering and the scaremongering. It's history says it's always significantly more. Right. So, yeah, it will be. It's just a matter of how it looks. And as you know, Jim, and you're getting the insight now, obviously, with the Channel 7 involvement, whatever they pay, they want a lot back too, these broadcasters, and that's fair enough too, because it's not... Once upon a time, you put the money down, it just came to you. Now they want it serviced, and So,
positive street we like to start on, and Anzac Day back.
It was back in a massive way, wasn't it?
I mean, a beautiful day helped, but 85,000 are as good as it's sport. Like we were just talking rugby league before, Fat. I mean, they can make all the noise they want, but when they turn on a Monday and see that happening, that's something that no other game in this country can do.
No.
That's a home and away game with nearly 90,000 people in the house.
And the night before was as significant a part of the Anzac Day.
What was that crowd?
It was in the 70s.
Was it?
Yeah, I believe it was, Bill. Right. And so, and you've always been a big advocate for the nighttime celebration of the Anzac period and moment, and it was special yet again. And you're right. I mean, we had an 80,000 crowd this time last year, but there was that sort of unknown about COVID, wasn't it? Without the vaccinations that have been in place, and that's the difference, I think, this year. This could be the start point, Bill, to the football side of the recovery when it comes to.
I reckon it was the biggest football crowd since the 2019 grand final.
Yeah,
right. So that's a big.
Oh no, but people are
statement.
coming back, aren't they? You can see that they're out in Melbourne, the comedy festival, all that. They're slowly coming back.
The footy crowds had been
slow,
underwhelming in terms of what they wanted to be. But I think as of the Anzac round and with the Sunday night game into the Monday game itself, I reckon that could be a turning point.
Is there any way Dustin Martin plays Friday night?
Yeah, there is. I've learnt to never say never on anything, particularly when it's involving the game's biggest name. look, if he's going to come back to the club, he'll be wanting to play, won't he? So, yeah, he's done 2 that we know of training sessions with the club or at the club. I would imagine he's kept himself pretty in good nick.
Now, we know where he's been. He was in Sydney.
He was in Sydney
wasn't
for a period, yeah. I mean, he was certainly in Melbourne for the early parts of that initial break from the game. He played round 1, just for those who forget the timeline on it, has missed the 5 games since. He did the preseason and had a good preseason, as we reported and as everyone knew. So while he's missed more than a month, he's still going to be in reasonably good nick. So, yeah, I wouldn't be ruling him out. The only thing is, Jim, he's got to jump on a plane, which is another issue, I think, with soft tissue if you haven't played for so long and then play over there. But
the only thing you'd think is, why would you risk, you'd expect that they'd be in good shape to beat a depleted West Coast.
Yes.
Why would you risk him? Why wouldn't you make sure he's absolutely ready to go?
You say that, but they're 2-4, and they need to win as much as West Coast does. And
they
should. Yeah. Just out of the Sunday game, and we're jumping around here, good, but it's a different week, given there's a long weekend component to it. Brody Grundy from that game yesterday, and you covered it, Jim. You saw him clash with Draper in the ruck. He has suffered the ruckman's curse of the PCL hit, the kneecap hit. Yeah, and Pitnet has gone down also with the same complaint. And as we speak here this afternoon, there's no known time frame upon which they return, but it's the longer term outcome for both of them, which is unfortunate. And that longer term being at least 8 to 10, Bill, and worst case would be season ending for both of them. But that's not the case at this stage. But they just don't know, and it's a shame.
They're both very important to their team's fortunes, but especially Grundy.
Absolutely.
Take him out of Collingwood. They're a very different team.
Mason Cox might come back.
He might have to, Bill, because Kruger went down too. The ex-Cat popped the shoulder early in the piece.
He's always going to get injured, Kruger.
Right.
He's got to protect himself. He goes too hard. Sees ball, get ball, goes too hard.
I think it's the shape of his head.
Krugs.
It's long. He's like Duke.
What's that got to do
Luke
with
Darcy. He's like that. Slept with it in a vice.
No,
Bill, there's no doubt about it. And
he
it
sees
affects
that
his
ball.
vision.
He doesn't care if his teammate's there or whatever. He just goes 100 mile an hour. He's got to pull up.
Beaker off the Muppets.
Beaker. Beep, 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 beep,
It's Beaker-esque, his head. We're going to a little break here, Purple, back after this.
More with Damien Barrett next on the Rush Hour. Triple M. Hamish Blake to join us after 5, but Damien Barrett's in now to chat round 6.
Got a new favourite, Jim. I rotate my favourites, but right now it's Chad Warner from the Swans.
Yeah, he's great.
Just loving what he does.
He's great. Looks like a member of Pseudo Echo.
Actually, he does. Yeah.
McInerney's a star for them.
Yeah,
too.
McInerney is, but there's something about Warner, Bill. I love his jets. I love his ability to kick long bowls. He can put balls lace out on where Buddy wants them.
Do you love Jack Givervan?
Yeah, I do.
Ginnivan,
yeah, I do.
Ginnivan. You know why you like him?
Because he's different. He's a point of difference.
He can walk the walk and he talks the talk.
Yes.
If he can do that, good on you, son.
And he'd had a good season up until even kicking the 5 goals, which earned him rightly. And I'm glad the voters went for him over Darcy Parish, who racked it up big time. But yeah, Chad Warner, big win against the Hawks in the end. They kicked not the last, but 9 of the last 10 to win the game of football. Clayton Oliver might have got lost just a little bit, Jim, in this context of having won 3 best and fairest, including last year.
Yep.
Just with the way Max Gawn and particularly Christian Petrarca started the year, but the last 2 weeks he's absolutely back, isn't he? And he was great in their win against Richmond. It's no secret, it hasn't been for at least 2 years now. Zach Bailey's talents did something he hasn't done before, though. Bill kicked 6 against Gold Coast. They are flying the Lions. Jez Cameron, Bill, this would have got you very excited. He's most for the Cats, 7. So you've got Tom Hawkins on 20 and Jez Cameron equal with Joey Danaher on 19 in the Coleman race.
I was down at the Cremorne Sunday picking up plates, picked up these plates off a table, and this bloke goes, "Oh, you've forgotten about me." I said, "Oh, sorry, mate, do I?" He goes, "I'm Jeremy's parents." Oh. I said, Jeremy Cameron. Mum and Dad sitting there watching the footy on the TV. And we had these Geelong blokes in front on a table, and the Cats were pretty ordinary early. They were spraying everywhere, and they're starting to get a bit boisterous. I went up and said, "Just a heads up, boys. Mr. and Mrs. Cameron are sitting behind you."
Keep it down to a dull roar.
Then they went over the top. Every time he kicked the goal, "Oh, Jezza!" The goal berserk. I should have.
Well, Damo, because I've said it on air as well as off air, how disappointed I was with North Melbourne exiting Robbie Tarrant out of the club.
Yes. Yep.
This is where list management amazes me. When you have that discussion in October last year or whenever it was, surely you look at the draw for the next year and you go, right, let's just project forward to this game in round 6 in Hobart when we play the Cats, and they've got Tom Hawkins and Jeremy Cameron.
Yeah.
which one are we going to play on them?
Yeah.
So they kick
Aidan Corr.
11 between them.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, this.
Yep.
Why wouldn't you want Robbie Tarrant playing in that game?
Well, it happened against Brisbane too when they got done by 128 points. And
Did
we're
a
jumping
very good
across for a
job on
negative
Ben
hit.
Brown the other night, Robbie Tarrant. Still got a lot of very good football in him.
Yep.
That was no surprise that those two got hold of North
No,
Melbourne. They
poor
got
old
it, and then Ben
Feathers.
Mackay went. So
Poor old
Plugs is
Feathers.
it.
Plugs is doing his best.
So he's the only one down there,
Hey,
Plugs.
but it is good that Ben Mackay will play and Harry this. For the first time in 8 years, they're going to play on each other.
No, he's not, Bill. He's not.
I don't
What's
think
going on? There's
There's
something.
one person.
This is Bill's view.
One person.
Because they're never in the same
They
place
got
at the same
drafted in
time.
2015 in the first round.
And never played on each other.
There's something up, isn't there?
There might-
Did you
something
reckon
up.
he deliberately got himself in the focus of the match review office, Ben, by the hit
Well,
he
there
gave
wasn't
on?
a lot in it, to be honest.
Okay.
But I reckon Harry
Bill
might be.
thinks-
But you know,
Bill thinks
Harry,
they're the same
Harry,
person.
Harry had the back got dropped too. He's sore. Like he could have had the laid out as well.
So Ben's Ben and Harry. Or Harry's Harry and Ben.
Is that what it is?
I'm not sure. There's just one person.
Are
They
they
get busy sometimes on the weekend. They've got to play two different clubs. No one's seen them together play on each other.
What else, Purple? Are we staying positive or are we
It's
heading
like that
negative?
Moon. What's that weird movie we always pump up?
He believed that show. He believed that
No,
statement.
he did.
What? No, I'm not going to deal with
No.
movies and you. Andrew Brayshaw. Andrew Brayshaw, Jim. I know that you've brought his work to our attention,
Yes, he
but
has.
everyone is in on the secret now.
Yep. He's quality, little Mekong Steve.
Bloody hell.
Leading the coaches' votes, by the way, leading the award.
Yep.
And second in the Herald Sun.
Yeah, he's a good boy. And I love the fact that he's a two-way runner. He works as hard defensively
Yeah,
as
he
he
does. And his tackles
forward.
stick,
Yeah,
don't they?
yeah,
I saw a bit
he's
of vision
good.
this today on access all
I
areas,
like,
and
I
they
like
stick.
Freo. I
Yeah.
like what they're doing.
Well,
Yeah.
a big game this Saturday.
Yeah, it is.
A massive game. Massive
Moon
game.
Night, Jim. That show is.
Yeah,
that
thank you, Bill.
The Mackays are on.
Yeah, keep going, Damo.
Tom Doday, I just want to give a shout out
Yes,
to
love.
for
What's
his
his
work
name?
amongst a lot
Dodo.
of good work. A lot of good work with the Crows,
Tom-
Bill, particularly Tex
Dodo.
Walker.
Yeah, very nice. Intercept marker.
it's
Tom
Duday.
Duday.
Today.
Duday.
Tom Duday.
You said Duday.
And
I
the
might have
Texan.
said it.
And the Texan, who's
Yeah.
returned with, in order, 4 goals, 5 goals, and 3 goals.
Yep, and
the
clutch.
best comeback we've seen
What
in
about
some time.
Tex, the clutch,
Yeah.
late one?
Do you reckon the Bulldogs
slotted it.
are sick of seeing his beautifully executed drop
Yeah,
punts?
I
The
reckon.
2015 elimination final and then the last
Yep.
goal on the weekend. Was that, now, we touched on a couple of negatives off the top, didn't we, with both Essendon and GWS, North Melbourne. Yeah, so 3 of the last 5 weeks.
Your
60
fault.
60 points and 128
I was
points.
at Fred's game and then Charlotte's game and was very grateful to be at them.
Jim,
Yeah.
you should be there supporting.
Game
Remember,
was
you used
in
to go down
Hobart,
the
Bill.
front row, sit with all
Yeah,
the
he did.
people
That's
and
what he
have
did.
an ice
Of course,
cream. and-
But Bill, that was part of being the chairman of the club, which I'm not anymore. So I was at the Hampton Rovers.
You sat with the cheer squad one
and
day,
then
didn't you?
I did, and then I was over in,
Didn't he hate that?
in Malvern
Yeah.
East, and I loved it.
Never seen a bloke more out of a place.
Loved
No,
it.
you didn't like
no,
that, did
no,
you?
not
Yeah.
that. I'm with you, Damo. That's what they're producing at the moment is
Yep.
a long way off
Western
it.
Bulldogs at 2-4 as well. We just felt, Bill, we even spoke about this last week, having just beaten North Melbourne at that stage. They were meant to get on a roll that got them through to round 10, being unbeaten from that point, and maybe even around 11 or 12. But they've lost to Adelaide, and as we touched on a few moments ago, Adelaide are going very, very nicely. The Bulldogs aren't. And Paddy McCartan, just before we go, just in that negative part of this conversation, for the reasons that relate to the concussion that he suffered again on the weekend, and while it seems by his standards at the lower end of the concussion element to it, it's still serious, very serious,
Very.
because it won't just be a decision to take him out of next week's game, but given he missed and was subbed out for those reasons, there could be a deeper and wider conversation involving other
think
people
so.
around the competition as to when he does return.
Buses.
Yep.
Still have
I don't think it's getting worse.
We sent that one across to Alberton last week,
Yep.
and we're going to leave it there because all they did was beat West Coast. Bill.
Leave
So-
it there.
No, no,
84.4.
Hey, against West Coast, all right? So I need
Righto.
to see more. We sent that one last week to Homebush as well, and we're going to leave it there with GWS. They're in a bit of strife. And while they were better yesterday, the Bombers against Collingwood, that one out at Tullamarine that lived there for 3 or 4 years from 2013 onwards, it's back out there, just keeping an eye on what's unfolding at Essendon.
I'm going to hang on to you, Purple,
Yeah.
because we've received some correspondence
Right.
that I need to
Oh, no.
table with you
I
next.
hope it's not about me.
No, this will be good. Stand by. King of Kings.
It's the rush hour. Triple M.